We're back for our third and final part in our three-part series with Adam Broughan. Today we're going to hear from Adam in how he stays motivated and how he inspires others, and also what his formula is to living his best life. I can't wait to get into our third part today. Okay, so you mentioned in a previous chat that you realised that you could make your own decisions and that you could take responsibility for your own actions. And that was quite a realisation, something that it hadn't occurred to you somehow before. So tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I suppose that I realised I could make my own decisions in life, because my brain was actually functioning. When you're drinking or in addiction, you're not really thinking straight, or you make bad decisions 99% of the time. So I realised then, that I could actually function, and my thoughts became much better, everything I was thinking about was to progress in life, and I suppose that's goes back to the things I like doing now, like spending time with family, going to see people and doing things that I enjoy. I'm not in self-destruct anymore.
Yeah, so it was almost like you had to create that space of, to stop drinking so you could get that clarity. So whilst you were drinking, your brain wasn't functioning in the way that, you would expect, I suppose. So it was almost like you had to create that space for that clarity. And then it just completely changed your thinking, your whole perspective on life.
Yeah, my perspective on life is totally different today. What I want to achieve, what makes me happy, everything is totally different. I'd say that I'm not the person that I was, I'm not the same person at all, when obviously I am in ways, but...
Well, I think like we were saying earlier, it robbed you of the person that you really are. It just completely blindsided you and took over your decisions and your choices. There was no clarity. I guess I'm wondering, what do you feel has been the most valuable lesson from this incredibly challenging chapter in your life?
I suppose the most valuable lesson is that I can achieve anything that I want to achieve. I can do anything that I want to do. And I am not a bad person. It's, I've proved, and what people don't realise is, it was hard to prove to myself, whatever about everyone else, because you can put on that face, but if you're not feeling it yourself, what's the point?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, doesn't it? You can't,
no.
If you don't believe, it's whatever you believe yourself. That is pretty much, if we believe that we're going to succeed, we're more likely to. If we believe that we can't do this or we're a bad person, it's so limited, it just limits us in a very small, makes our world very small, doesn't it?
Everyone has bad days, I'm not saying I'm a great fella here, do you know what I mean? I hope that someone gets something from it, but it's the little things that help me today. If I have a bad day, I'll do up a gratitude list at night time. So I'll list all the things that I'm grateful for. And what that does is you're automatically not thinking about what's going on in life that's bad or what happened that day, because you have all these great things. And what happens if you don't do that, I think you forget about things that you're grateful for. So if you have a bad day and you're thinking about that bad day, when you wake up tomorrow, if you're thinking about that stuff again, you're not thinking about anything good that's going on in your life. And you're definitely not thinking about how you're going to fix it,
I love that, because what you're doing there, what you're talking about is we are predisposed to sort of think about the things, the not so good things, because we think we want to try and fix it. So that gains all of our attention. So we do lose sight of the good stuff then in life. And then it feels like everything's bad because we don't spend any time thinking about, the things that we're grateful for. But the science is strong behind that. On every single happiness study, gratitude is on the list of if the people that are more grateful are far more likely to be happy. And again, it shifts the perspective, doesn't it? It shifts that perspective on life. It makes you less vulnerable to things like depression and feeling hopeless and all those types of things.
Yeah, I suppose like after 3 years now, like I do things in my daily life that a lot of people probably don't do, or things like that, and I don't think too much about them. They're just routine now at this stage. But it's like back to the nutrition, sleep, eat, if I don't do a couple of them things, I don't have to ask myself, why am I having a bad day? Why am I, do you know what I mean? Because I know exactly why. I don't need anyone to tell me.
I think that that's inspirational in itself, really, that the more we can do that and really tune into how we are really feeling and ask ourselves the questions that only we can answer, it's powerful. Because without awareness, we just kind of get dragged along through life and we don't know what's bothering us half the time. We don't ask ourselves, because it's subtle, isn't it? Things are subtle and they can build up. I mean, that's brilliant that it's now routine and you know what works. So on the days then that are more difficult, because I was just thinking there of what motivates you to stay clean. I mean, you've kind of talked about that today. I'm sure you don't want to go back to that place, that dark place.
So I suppose what keeps me motivated is other people that are struggling, because I know what it feels like. And I need to hear that sometimes as well. So by going to a meeting, if I think I had a bad day, or, by contacting someone, they can tell you very quickly that's not a bad day, but like my worst days, but the worst day I've had in the last 3 years has been like the best day I've had in addiction. Like that's the chalk and cheese. Like I don't really have, like this is going to come back and bite me now, but I'm going to say I don't have bad days. Do you know, like I have days that are off, all right, and over them.
Though that the worst day that you've had in the last 3 years was nothing in comparison to the days that you had when you were in addiction. So that's quite a powerful thing to say, actually, and I'm sure that's a motivator in itself, I guess.
Yeah, like I get motivated off a lot of things, and I suppose another good thing that I do in life is I have goals, and I keep them updated, and I make a couple of goals, and when they're complete, I go on and I create a few more. They're not like, if I have 3 goals, like, I'm not having 3 goals that aren't really achievable. I have one that's easy, one that's a bit harder, and one that's a bit harder again.
Love that.
And a long term and a short term.
Yeah.
It keeps you going, like.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're going to progress. And like you say, that keeps those feelings of not being good enough and not liking yourself and all that kind of thing, because you're literally gaining evidence to the contrary of that, on a daily basis, really. So it's in the small detail. So it sounds like it's just all small bits, which it is, but it's, all of it together is powerful, isn't it? It has a powerful effect. What are the most important things for you now then in your life? What would you say?
The most important things to me are family, friends. They're the most important things to me. I suppose like the things I enjoy most is, spending time with family or friends, or, running, going to the gym, doing things like that. And I enjoy simple things now, like where I wouldn't have enjoyed simple things an addiction or drinking, you know. I would have said that's boring, but that's just the whole mind change, you know, different perspective. Once your perspective changes, everything changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. Just what an absolute pleasure to sit down and talk to you today. I'm absolutely so proud of you.
Thanks very much.
I knew I'd enjoy this podcast. It's just, you know, it's literally from addiction and from suicidal thoughts to running marathons and helping other people and helping yourself and just being being an inspiration to others and enjoying your own life, which is a pleasure to see as well. And that, you know, that in itself is going to have a positive effect on others. It's brilliant. Love it. Absolutely love it. So what would you say to anybody else who's listening, who's struggling right now?
Yeah, thanks. I've really enjoyed it as well. But I suppose what I'd say to someone is don't be afraid to talk, you know, ask for a bit of help. Tell somebody how you're feeling. Tell somebody what you're going through. If you're afraid to talk to a family member, talk to a friend. If you're afraid to talk to a friend, I'm on most social media platforms. You know, add me, send me a message. But there's meetings you can go to, like NA.org, AA, find a meeting near me. You know, there's so many things you can do. And there'll be always somebody willing to help you. Do you know what I mean? Someone will point you in the direction. And like, you don't have to get to a really bad stage. You don't have to be at that stage, you know. You can go talk to somebody about anything, you know. And if you think it's only something small, it doesn't matter. Go and talk to somebody about it.
How could somebody notice an early warning sign? What could be a really early warning sign that there's something, you know, that they're going down the wrong road here?
It's hard to say, you know, because like I'm not judgmental of anybody else. I wouldn't like saying what could be bad because some people don't have an addictive personality. You know, a lot of people can go out a lot when they're younger and party, you know, through their teens or whatever, and then just stop and then they can have a drink socially again without going to the bitter end. But I suppose, like, you know, people who don't want to be around family or people who are spending a lot of time after they've been drinking in bed, you know, trying to sleep because they haven't slept in a couple of days. You know, there's lots of little things, but I suppose the big thing about it is if you're telling somebody that they have a problem and they're not admitting to themselves, it's a waste of time. You have to be willing yourself or you won't get the rewards. I think you have to be in the realization that you are fucked or you do need a bit of help.
And when your thoughts are consumed, you know, you were saying earlier that when pretty much your every waking thought is going towards, you know, when am I getting my next drink or drug? Let's just skip the going to the match or, you know, where you were saying earlier that nothing else mattered, nothing else. You weren't really interested in much else. So, you know, I guess that they would be red flags, that kind of thing. Okay, well, thanks again. What a fantastic podcast. Yeah, all the best. I know that you're going to go on to... When's your next marathon?
Chicago.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that's brilliant. Love it. Okay, all the best. Great to talk to you.
Thanks very much.
And that's it for another episode of Happiness, Health and Relationships podcast. If you'd like to find out more ways that you can work with me, then head over to happinesshealthrelationshipspodcast.com. And I'll see you on the next episode.